He humiliated me on Snapchat for clout and dumped me like I was a joke. I stayed silent, just vanished. 37 missed calls later. He was at my door, on his knees, sobbing like losing me was the worst mistake of his life. Ethan and I have been together for almost 3 years. I met him when I was 21. He was the guy who knew how to fix the garbage disposal when it jammed. A first green flag, or so I thought. We exchanged Facebook profiles, started texting, and the rest just kind of happened. The past 3 years have been mostly good. We had our rhythm, you know. Netflix documentaries on Thursdays, his mom's for dinner every other Sunday, camping trips with his friends in the summer. He always remembered my birthday and actually listened when I talked about my day. These days, that's practically unicorn behavior. Side note, my last boyfriend before him thought emotional labor was a type of childbirth, so my bar was admittedly on the floor. Fast forward to this Tuesday, I'm scrolling on my phone during lunch, and my phone dings with a text from my friend Chloe. It's just a Snapchat link with "Call me now" in all caps. Chloe is not the dramatic type. She once texted "slight issue" when her apartment was literally flooding. I click the link, and there's Ethan at the Rusty Nail, that dive bar his buddies always hang out on Mondays. I could tell by the neon Coors light sign behind him that flickers every 7 seconds. We counted once while waiting for our order. He's clearly 6 beers deep, red-faced, arms slung around his friend Lucas. Someone off camera asks, "So, rate your girlfriend, bro," and y'all, the look on his face changed. It wasn't his normal smile. It was this weird smirk I'd never seen before, like he was about to let everyone in on some private joke. Sophia, honestly, probably the most hideous girl I've ever been with, like a 4 on a good day. The bar erupts in O's, and someone yells, "Savage." Ethan just laughs and keeps going. But she cooks really good enchiladas and never complains when I go out with the boys, so I keep her around. Low maintenance, you know. Then someone asks if he's worried I'll see the video. His response, "Nah, she doesn't even know what Snapchat is. Besides, thinking about upgrading soon anyway. Too much baggage." The timestamp showed it was posted at 11:43 p.m. Monday night while I was at home doing a freaking clay mask and texting him good night. The video had 177,000 views, 17,000 likes. I sat there in the break room, just staring at my phone. Didn't cry, didn't scream, just felt this weird cold feeling spreading through my chest. 3 years together, and this is what he actually thinks of me. The night before, he'd been at my place. We'd made dinner together, talked about maybe moving in when my lease ends in August. He'd kissed me goodbye and said, "Love you, babe," like it was nothing, and apparently 12 hours later, I was the hideous girlfriend he was planning to dump. I texted Chloe back, "Coming over after work, don't tell anyone." Then muted all notifications, put my phone in my bag, and somehow made it through 3 more client appointments without completely breaking down. Autopilot is weird like that. After work, I didn't go home. Went straight to Target, bought a cheap duffel bag, filled it with essentials. Toothbrush, deodorant, phone charger, couple of t-shirts. Spent $47.16. The receipt is still in my wallet for some reason. Drove to Chloe's apartment complex at 6:13 p.m., sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, just staring at nothing, playing that video over and over in my head. I keep thinking about all the times Ethan told me I looked beautiful. When I dressed up for his company holiday gala, when I was sick with the flu last winter, 3 weeks ago when we were at the beach, and I was so self-conscious about wearing a bikini. All lies, or just things you say when you're with someone. Chloe didn't ask questions when I showed up, just pointed to her couch bed, 2 glasses of the cheap rosé we drank in college, and said, "What's the plan?" That's when I decided I'm not giving him the satisfaction of a breakup conversation. No tears, no begging, no dramatic confrontation he can tell his bros about later. I'm just going to disappear. We spent that night making a checklist. Block Ethan on everything, phone, Facebook, X, change all my passwords, he knew most of them, call out from work for the rest of the week, tell only my mom where I really am. By midnight, Ethan had texted 7 times, normal stuff at first. "Hey, what do you want for dinner? And you still coming over tonight?" By morning it was, "Where are you? And why aren't you answering?" By afternoon, he'd called 12 times, not one mention of the Snapchat, not one apology, nothing. I stayed at Chloe's Wednesday and Thursday, binged all of The Bachelor. Trash TV is surprisingly therapeutic when your life is imploding. Cried in the shower so Chloe wouldn't hear, ordered too much Uber Eats because neither of us felt like cooking. Friday morning, Chloe went to my apartment to grab more of my clothes, said Ethan had clearly been there. Empty energy drink cans on the counter, his jacket thrown over my couch. He'd left a note taped to my door. Call me, we need to talk. Still nothing about why we might need to talk, like I'm supposed to just not know about the video. The Snapchat mysteriously disappeared from his account on Thursday night, too late though. It had already been screen recorded and was making rounds in our friend group. My phone was blowing up with, "Are you okay?" Texts from people I haven't talked to in months. The weekend was a blur of ignoring calls from unknown numbers. Ethan using his friends' phones once he realized I'd blocked him, and jumping every time someone knocked on Chloe's door. Brenda from my old city college group chat sent me screenshots of Ethan's Facebook stories. Vague posts about missing someone and biggest mistake of my life with sad song lyrics, classic damage control. Sunday night, 26 missed calls. Monday morning, 32. I finally went back to work on Monday. My manager hugged me when I walked in. Apparently, the video had made it to her FYP too, told me to take another day if I needed it. I said no, I needed normal, needed to focus on something other than the dumpster fire that was my relationship. Ethan showed up at the salon during my lunch break. I hid in the supply closet while my coworker told him I wasn't there. Heard his voice, that familiar low rumble I used to love, through the door, sounded tired. Good. By Tuesday morning, exactly 1 week since I'd seen the video, the missed call count was at 37. His latest text just said, "Please." I needed to swing by my apartment for my mail, had a package that needed a signature, figured 8:00 a.m. was safe since Ethan usually leaves for work at 7:30. I was wrong. I unlocked my door, and there he was, sitting on my welcome mat, the one he gave me that says, "Home is where the Wi-Fi connects automatically." He looked up when he heard my keys. Y'all, the man was a wreck. Hadn't shaved, dark circles under his eyes, wearing the same AC/DC shirt he'd had on in his Facebook story from 2 days ago. When he saw me, he literally crumpled, not in a fake dramatic way, like his body physically gave out. On his knees, tears immediately streaming, saying my name over and over. I just stood there, keys still in hand, felt nothing, then everything, then nothing again. "Sophia, please, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said those things. I was drunk. The guys were pressuring me. I never meant any of it. Please just talk to me." I cut him off. "I saw what you really think of me. There's nothing to talk about." Stepped around him like he was a piece of furniture, got my mail, walked back to my car. He followed me to the parking lot, still crying, still begging. Got in my car, locked the doors, drove back to Chloe's. He called 5 more times before I even made it across town. So that brings us to now. It's been exactly 8 days, 4 hours, and 22 minutes since I saw that video. Since I realized the person I trusted most in the world sees me as a convenient placeholder until something better comes along. I don't know what happens next. Part of me, a small, stupid part, misses him, misses the routine, misses believing I was loved. I keep replaying his words from the video. Hideous, upgrade, so casual, so cruel. 3 years together, and that's what I'm worth. We'll update when there's more to tell. For now, I'm just taking it one day at a time. First update. Y'all remember me? The girl whose boyfriend of 3 years called her hideous on Snapchat, and then had the audacity to act shocked when she disappeared. Yeah, that's still me, unfortunately. First of all, thank you for all the support on my last diary entry. It's been exactly 17 days since I saw that video and 9 days since Ethan showed up crying on my doorstep. Let me tell you, things have gotten weird. So, after I left Ethan in the parking lot that morning, Tuesday, 8:43 a.m., according to my car's timestamp, I drove straight back to Chloe's place in full zombie mode. The whole drive, my phone kept lighting up with calls. Ethan had apparently moved on to using his mom's phone to reach me, which is a special kind of desperate. When I got back to Chloe's, I just sat in her kitchen, staring at the faded, live, laugh tequila magnet on her fridge. I couldn't cry anymore. It was like my emotions had finally reached their data limit for the month. Chloe came home from her shift around 2:00 p.m. and found me in the exact same position, still in my coat. She just sighed, handed me a White Claw from the fridge lime, the superior flavor, and said something that actually made me think. She asked if I'd been noticing red flags with Ethan all along, but had just been filtering them out. At first, I was defensive. Ethan and I had a good relationship. He remembered my birthday. He watched The Bachelor with me even though he hated it. He never complained when my hair clogged the shower drain. The bar is literally in hell these days, and I thought he was clearing it with room to spare. But then Chloe started asking specific questions. Did Ethan ever make jokes about my appearance before? Well, there was that time he said my favorite jeans made me look kind of wide, but in a cute way. And when I got highlights last summer, he asked if the salon meant to make them that brassy. And he did have a weird habit of pointing out celebrities he found attractive, always the super thin, no makeup types who look nothing like me. Did Ethan support my goals? I mean, he said he was proud when I got promoted last year, but also suggested maybe I shouldn't take it because the stress might be too much. When I talked about maybe going back to school someday, he always changed the subject to how expensive it would be. Did Ethan have equal standards for our relationship? Thinking about it, not really. If I was 15 minutes late meeting him, I'd get a series of increasingly annoyed texts. But he could cancel plans last minute to hang with the boys, and I was supposed to be cool with it. By the time we finished our White Claw, I had this sinking feeling in my stomach. The Snapchat wasn't some bizarre, out-of-character moment. It was just the first time I'd seen what had been there all along without the filter of wanting to believe we were perfect. That night, Ethan escalated to a new level. At exactly 9:17 p.m., Chloe's doorbell rang. We both froze, like we'd been caught committing a crime. Through the peephole, Ethan, holding the saddest-looking grocery store flowers I've ever seen. Chloe went full mama bear mode. She opened the door just enough to block the view inside and told him I wasn't there. I could hear his voice cracking as he begged her to just let him talk to me for 5 minutes, said he hadn't slept in days, said he'd lost 7 pounds, said he'd do anything to fix this. After Chloe finally got him to leave, she found a handwritten letter he'd slipped under the door. 8 pages front and back. I have to admit, I read it twice. It was a lot. Tear stains on the paper, promises to spend the rest of my life making this up to you. Explanations about how he was drunk, how his friends were peer pressuring him, how he'd been having a bad day at work. Classic deflection bingo. But one line actually got to me. I said those horrible things because I'm insecure and afraid you'll realize you're too good for me. For about 20 minutes, I actually considered calling him. That's how messed up my brain was, like he humiliated me publicly, and I was feeling bad for him. Thankfully, Chloe's Wi-Fi chose that exact moment to crash. Classic Thursday night Xfinity outage, so we couldn't even stream anything. Instead, we ended up going through old photos on my phone, and that's when I had my first real epiphany. In literally every picture of Ethan and me together from the past year, I'm looking at him with this big smile, and he's either looking at his phone, off to the side, or making some stupid face. Not a single one where he's looking at me the way I'm looking at him. How did I never notice that before? Friday morning brought a new development. My brother Julian called to tell me that Ethan had shown up at his apartment at 7:00 a.m., asking if he knew where I was. Julian, being the overprotective brother he is, told Ethan that if he came by again, they'd be having a different kind of conversation. Dramatic, but I appreciate the sentiment. By that point, I was actually starting to feel smothered by all of Ethan's attempts to contact me. It wasn't romantic, it was uncomfortable. So I did something I'd been avoiding. I drafted a text, simple, direct, no room for misinterpretation. I need space. Please stop contacting me, my friends or my family. I'll reach out when, if I'm ready to talk. Sent it at 10:22 a.m., immediately turned my phone off for 3 hours because I couldn't handle seeing his response. When I finally checked again, there were 5 paragraphs waiting for me. The gist: he understood he'd respect my boundaries, he'd wait forever if that's what it took, followed immediately by 3 more texts asking when forever might end, and if we could please just meet for coffee next week. So much for respecting boundaries. The weekend was actually peaceful. Chloe's roommate, Brenda, was out of town visiting her parents, so we had the place to ourselves. We ordered in, did face masks, watched all 3 Fast and Furious movies, for the plot, obviously, and I went a full 24 hours without checking my phone. It felt like coming up for air after being underwater. Sunday night, though, things took another turn. I was scrolling through Facebook before bed, bad habit, I know, when I saw it. Ethan had posted a video. Not just any video, a public apology to me, tagged me in it and everything. 4 minutes and 27 seconds of him sitting in his car, looking directly at the camera with red-rimmed eyes, telling everyone who saw that horrible Snapchat how sorry he was, how much he regrets hurting the most beautiful person, inside and out, that he's ever known, and how he's learning to be a better man. The comments were a mess. Some people praising him for taking accountability. Barf. Others calling him out for making my humiliation about him again. His buddy Luca's commenting, "Stay strong, bro," like Ethan was the victim here. I couldn't sleep after that, kept thinking about how even his apology was public. Even his supposed rock-bottom moment was carefully filmed, probably with multiple takes, posted at optimal engagement hours. 8:00 p.m. on a Sunday. Monday morning, I decided I needed to go back to my own apartment. Chloe had been amazing, but I couldn't hide at her place forever. Plus her hot water heater had been acting up all weekend, and cold showers in February are not the vibe. As I was packing up my duffel bag, my phone pinged with a Venmo notification. Ethan had sent me $300 with the note, for the anniversary dinner we'll never have. Our 3-year anniversary would have been next week. I sent it back immediately, then blocked him on Venmo too. The drive back to my apartment felt like going to a job interview I knew I'd bomb. Every red light had me checking my rearview mirror, half expecting to see Ethan's car pull up behind me. But my apartment building was Ethan-free when I arrived. My neighbor, Ms. Jenkins, nodded at me in the hallway like I hadn't been gone for over 2 weeks. My plants were all dead, ripped to my supposedly impossible-to-kill snake plant. The air smelled stale and slightly like the Indian takeout I'd forgotten in the fridge. It felt both strange and familiar, like putting on jeans that don't quite fit anymore. And then I saw them, post-it notes everywhere. On my bathroom mirror, "I miss your smile." On my fridge, "Remember our first year." On my TV, "Our Netflix queue misses you." On my bedside table, "I can't sleep without you." I stood there in shock, slowly realizing what had happened. Ethan still had the spare key I'd given him last year. He'd been in my apartment while I was gone. My skin instantly crawled. I checked all the closets, under the bed, behind the shower curtain, half convinced he might be hiding somewhere. He wasn't, but the violation of my space felt just as creepy. I called my landlord immediately and explained the situation. He agreed to change my locks the next morning. Then I systematically went through my apartment, removing every single post-it note and ripping them into tiny pieces. Petty. Maybe. Satisfying. Absolutely. That night was my first one back in my own bed, and I won't lie, it was weird. I kept waking up expecting to feel Ethan's weight on the mattress. My brain hadn't caught up to the reality that we were over. Tuesday morning, yesterday, I was making coffee when someone knocked on my door. My heart stopped for a second before I remembered Ethan's key wouldn't work anymore. It wasn't Ethan, it was Luca's. Luca's, who had been in that Snapchat video, laughing along while Ethan called me hideous. Luca's, who I'd been friends with before I even met Ethan. Luca's, who had apparently come as Ethan's ambassador. He looked uncomfortable, shifting from foot to foot in the hallway, started with small talk about the weather, seriously, before finally getting to the point. Ethan was in a really bad place and just wanted 5 minutes to explain himself. I asked Luca's if he remembered laughing in that video. He had the decency to look ashamed, said he was drunk and just going along with the guys, then hit me with this gem. "He didn't mean any of it, Sophia. You know how guys talk when they're together. I don't want to be with someone who talks like that with his friends, drunk or sober. I don't want to wonder what he says about me when I'm not around. I don't want to be with someone who needs a public meltdown and a friendship intervention to realize he values me." I thanked Lucas for coming by, told him I hoped Ethan would feel better soon, and closed the door. Last night, I went through my phone and unfollowed Ethan on every platform we were still connected on, took down the photos of us from my apartment walls. packed up the hoodie he always left at my place, and the Xbox controller he used when he came over, put them in a box in my closet. Not ready to return them yet, but not wanting to see them either. Then I ordered myself dinner from that place Ethan always complained was too spicy, but that I secretly loved. Ate it while watching The Walking Dead, which Ethan refused to watch because he doesn't like zombie shows. Used the fancy bath bomb my mom got me for winter solstice that I'd been saving for a special occasion. Around midnight, my phone lit up with a text from a number I didn't recognize. "It's Ethan. Please don't block this number. I just need to know one thing. Did those 3 years mean anything to you? Because they were everything to me." I stared at those words for a long time. 3 years of inside jokes and holiday dinners and lazy Sunday mornings. 3 years of building a life I thought we'd share forever. And also 3 years of small criticisms dressed as jokes. 3 years of walking on eggshells around his moods. 3 years of making myself smaller to make him comfortable. I didn't reply, just added the number to my block list and turned off my phone. This morning, I woke up and did something I haven't done in 2.5 weeks. I made a plan for me, not a reaction to Ethan, not a hiding strategy, just a normal day for myself. But as I was heading out to grab coffee, I saw something that stopped me cold. Ethan's profile picture on Facebook had changed to a photo of us from last summer at his cousin's wedding, my head on his shoulder, both of us smiling. It shouldn't matter, it shouldn't affect me at all, but it did. We'll update again when there's more to tell. For now, I'm taking it day by day and remembering what my grandma always said. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. Second update. Y'all, I wasn't planning on updating so soon, but the past week has been a lot, and I need to process. It's been exactly 32 days since I saw that video, 1 month of rebuilding my life without someone who I thought was my future. And honestly, some days are better than others. The weirdest thing happened last Saturday. I was at Target, my emotional support store, don't judge, picking up some new sheets because I finally decided to get rid of the gray ones Ethan always said brought out the blue in his eyes. Gag. I was debating between sage green and terracotta when I noticed a woman staring at me from the end of the aisle. At first, I thought maybe I had something on my face or toilet paper stuck to my shoe, wouldn't be the first time. But then she walked over, looking super uncomfortable, and asked if I was the girl from Ethan's Snapchat. My stomach instantly knotted up. It's one thing to be humiliated online. It's another to be recognized by strangers at Target on a random Saturday while wearing no makeup and yesterday's messy bun. Before I could even respond, she launched into this awkward apology, saying she'd been one of the people who commented something mean on the original video, but felt terrible after seeing Ethan's public apology and realized how wrong cyberbullying is, her exact words. I just stood there, clutching my terracotta sheets, decision made by panic, apparently, while the stranger had her character development moment in the home goods section. When she finally stopped talking, I managed to say, "Thanks, it's fine, good talk," and speed walked to checkout. Sat in my car for 20 minutes afterward with the AC blasting, even though it was only 62 degrees F outside. That's when it hit me, I'm not just Sophia anymore. To some people, I'm the girl from the Snapchat. My humiliation has become my identifier, and that realization made me angry in a way I hadn't felt before, not sad angry like I'd been for weeks, pure, energizing, get things done angry. Sunday morning, I woke up at 6:13 a.m., couldn't sleep, and made a list in my notes app. Cut my hair, always wanted to try a lob, but Ethan liked it long. Join that kickboxing class Chloe keeps talking about, finally apply for that certificate program I've been putting off, redecorate my bedroom, no more masculine-friendly color scheme, download a dating app. By 11:00 AD, I'd already crossed off number 1. Walked into Great Clips without an appointment. Living dangerously, LOL, and chopped off 7 inches of hair. The stylist kept asking if I was sure, if I needed more time to think about it, if someone had talked me into it. Told her nope, just needed a change. She didn't need to know I was mentally naming each snip of the scissors after something Ethan had said to me over the years. "You'd look better with more defined eyebrows." Snip. "No guy wants a girl who eats more than him." Snip. "Your laugh is kind of loud sometimes." Snip. When she spun me around to see the final result, I barely recognized myself, in a good way. My neck felt lighter, My head felt lighter, hell, my whole being felt lighter. Posted a selfie on Facebook when I got home. Just me with my new hair, sunlight from my kitchen window, and the caption, "New month, new me." Within an hour, it had 87 likes, including from Luca's and 2 of Ethan's other friends. Petty satisfaction. Maybe, but I'll take the small wins. Monday brought item number 2 on my list. Dragged myself to Chloe's kickboxing studio at an ungodly hour, convinced I'd make a fool of myself. The instructor, Brenda, coincidentally the same name as Chloe's roommate, kept us moving so fast I didn't have time to feel self-conscious. By the end, I was drenched in sweat, and my arms felt like overcooked spaghetti, but also strangely powerful. Checked my phone after class to find 3 missed calls from unknown numbers, Ethan's new burner phone tactic, and 1 text from Luca's asking if we could talk sometime. Left him on read, not ready for that conversation yet. Tuesday, I finally tackled item number 3 and applied for that digital marketing certificate I've been considering for ages. Ethan always said it was a waste of money since I already have a stable job. Took me 43 minutes to fill out the application, another 20 to write the short personal statement, and about 3 seconds to hit submit before I could overthink it. Had a mini panic attack immediately after, wondering if I was making a huge mistake. Called my mom, who talked me down in her usual way. Half encouragement, half "I don't understand why you're complicating your life, but I support you anyway." Wednesday was when things got intense. I was at the grocery store when my phone started blowing up with texts from Chloe. "Call me now, Ethan is on Facebook Live, he's talking about you, it's bad." I abandoned my cart in the middle of the cereal aisle, sorry, underpaid grocery store workers, and ran to my car to watch the train wreck. Sure enough, there was Ethan, clearly drunk at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, red-faced and slurring, talking directly to the camera about how he'd lost the love of his life and didn't know how to go on. The comments were rolling in fast, mostly people telling him to get help or turn off the live, but he just kept going, reading some comments aloud and ignoring others. Then he said something that made my blood freeze. "I know she's watching this, Sophia. I'm coming over tonight. We need to talk this out. I'm not taking no for an answer anymore." I immediately called Chloe in full panic mode. She offered to come stay with me, but I ended up calling my brother Julian instead. He's closer to my apartment, and, frankly, more intimidating if Ethan actually showed up. Julian arrived at 5:30 p.m. with his girlfriend Bianca and enough overnight stuff for a week. Told me not to argue. They were staying until this dude gets the message. Made himself at home on my couch, connected his Nintendo Switch to my TV, and proceeded to act like this was all totally normal. By 8:00 p.m., I'd almost convinced myself Ethan's threat was just drunk talk. By 9:00 p.m., I was starting to relax. By 9:47 p.m., the doorbell rang. Julian answered while Bianca and I stood back. I could hear Ethan's voice, slurred and emotional, demanding to see me. Julian's responses were low and calm. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear. After about 5 minutes, I heard my door close. Julian came back, looking annoyed but calm. Said Ethan had finally left after Julian convinced him this wasn't a good time, understatement of the year. Also mentioned that Ethan looked rough and smelled like he'd bathed in Jack Daniels. I slept terribly that night, jumping at every sound outside my window. Kept thinking about how different things were just 5 weeks ago when I still believed Ethan was the one, when I still thought I knew him. Thursday morning, I woke up to a text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Ethan's mom. I'm worried about him and don't know what to do. He won't eat, barely sleeps, lost his job yesterday for showing up drunk. I know you don't owe him anything, but please call me." Talk about emotional manipulation. She'd always done this, treated Ethan like he couldn't possibly handle consequences, swooping in to fix everything, one of many red flags I'd ignored. I showed the text to Julian, who advised ignoring it, but something about it bothered me all day. Not guilt, exactly, but a nagging feeling that this situation was spiraling beyond what I'd intended. Around 3:00 p.m., I decided to text her back. "I'm sorry Ethan is struggling, but I'm not responsible for his choices or his healing. Please encourage him to get professional help." She responded immediately. "He made a mistake. Everyone deserves forgiveness." I didn't reply. Some mistakes change how you see a person forever. That evening, something unexpected happened. I was scrolling through Snapchat, glutton for punishment, I know, when I saw a storytime Snapchat video from someone I didn't follow. It was one of those storytime Snapchat videos, and the caption made my heart stop. When your friend humiliates his girlfriend on Snapchat, and you finally call him out for being toxic. It was Caleb, one of Ethan's longtime friends, the guy who was literally in the original video laughing along. In the video, Caleb explained how he'd been complicit in Ethan's toxic behavior for years, not just with me, but with previous girlfriends too, how the friend group had a pattern of encouraging Ethan's worst impulses, how the Snapchat incident had been a wake-up call for him personally. He ended with, "Sophia, if you see this, I'm sorry. We all failed you, and Ethan, man, get help. This isn't about winning her back. This is about becoming someone who would never hurt her in the first place." I watched it 7 times, sent it to Chloe, who responded with "holy" and nothing else for a full 10 minutes. Then Caleb DM'd me on Facebook. "Hey, hope that didn't make things worse, just couldn't stay silent anymore, no pressure to respond." I sat with that for a while, appreciated that he didn't expect a response, finally wrote back, "Thanks for speaking up, better late than never." We ended up having a surprisingly honest conversation. He told me Ethan had been spiraling hard since I left, drinking daily, getting into fights, alienating friends. Said the friend group was divided between those enabling him and those trying to get him help. Caleb also confirmed something I'd suspected. This wasn't the first time Ethan had spoken about me that way, just the first time it was recorded. That hit different, knowing it wasn't a one-time drunk mistake, but a pattern, a true reflection of how he saw me when I wasn't around. Friday, yesterday, marked exactly 1 month since I walked away. I decided to celebrate my Independence Day by tackling the final item on my list. Downloading a dating app, not because I'm ready to date. God, no. But because I wanted to remind myself that Ethan isn't the only option in the universe, that there's a whole world of people who might appreciate me without secretly tearing me down. Setting up my profile felt weirdly vulnerable. Choosing photos where I actually liked how I looked, writing a bio that was authentically me, not curated to appeal to one specific person's preferences, like stretching muscles I'd forgotten I had. I had just finished setting up my profile when my phone rang, another unknown number. I almost declined it automatically, assuming it was Ethan with yet another burner phone, but something made me answer. It wasn't Ethan, it was his friend Lucas. Lucas sounded weird, nervous, talking too fast, said he needed to tell me something important, something about the original Snapchat, something that might change how I saw everything. I almost hung up, almost told him I was done with all of it, done with Ethan, done with his friends and their drama, but then Lucas said, "The Snapchat wasn't spontaneous, Sophia. Ethan planned it, and I can prove it. I'm seeing Lucas today at 2 p.m. at the Starbucks. Julian insisted on coming with me and sitting at a nearby table, just in case. I have no idea what Lucas wants to tell me. I'll update after. My stomach's in knots, and I've changed my outfit 4 times already. Wish me luck, I guess. Edit. Just about to leave for Starbucks. Thanks for all the supportive comments. To answer the most common questions. No, I haven't unblocked Ethan and don't plan to. Yes, I'm bringing my pepper spray. Thanks for the concern, LOL. And no, I don't want Ethan back. I just want to understand what the hell happened. Last update. Y'all, I've rewritten this post 4 times now, because I still can't believe everything that's happened. First, thank you to everyone who sent supportive messages after my cliffhanger last update. Sorry for leaving you hanging, but I genuinely needed time to process what Lucas showed me. Let's back up to Saturday at 2:03 p.m. I walked into Starbucks with my stomach in knots, spotted Lucas in the corner booth, nervously shredding a napkin. Julian took his position at a table near the door, looking very obvious despite his disguise of sunglasses worn indoors. Lucas looked rough, not Ethan-level disaster, but definitely stressed. Dark circles under his eyes, hair unwashed, wearing the same shirt I'd seen him in at least 3 times on Facebook recently. The first 5 minutes were painfully awkward. He apologized about 17 different ways, for his part, in the Snapchat situation. I just sipped my latte and waited for him to get to the point. Finally, he pulled out his phone. "Before I show you this, You need to know I didn't find it until yesterday. I was going through some old group chats, trying to find a pizza place we ordered from once, and I saw this thread that Ethan started about a month before, you know. He slid his phone across the table. It was open to a GroupMe group chat titled Weekend Warriors, with Ethan, Lucas, Caleb, and 2 other guys. The messages were from 5 weeks before the Snapchat incident. Ethan, need your help with something, boys. Caleb, what's up? Ethan, trying to figure out how to break up with Lucas. Whoa, for real. Thought you guys were looking at places together. Ethan, yeah, that's the problem, she's getting too serious. Plus I met someone at the gym. I felt my face getting hot as I scrolled. Ethan went on to explain that he'd been talking to his words. A girl named Isabella for almost 3 months, but he was worried about how I'd react to a breakup since we shared so many friends and she can get emotional. Excuse me. As I kept reading, it got worse. Ethan was literally asking his friends for advice on how to make me break up with him so he could look like the good guy. Their suggestions ranged from gradually becoming more distant to picking fights over nothing too, and this is what made me nearly drop the phone. Just be an ass on social media so she sees it and dumps you. The last message in the thread was from Ethan. Snapchat might be the move, she never checks it anyway. I looked up at Lucas, who couldn't meet my eyes. Why show me this now? I asked. He explained that after our last conversation, he'd been feeling increasingly guilty about his part in everything. Said he'd assumed the Snapchat was just drunk stupidity, not a calculated move. Didn't know about Isabella until he found these messages. Ethan's been lying to everyone, Lucas said. Telling us how heartbroken he is, how he made the biggest mistake of his life. Meanwhile, he's still texting Isabella. I saw them together at Chipotle yesterday. It was like the final puzzle piece clicking into place. The Snapchat wasn't a drunken mistake. It was deliberate, just a plan that backfired when I disappeared instead of confronting him. I thanked Lucas for showing me the truth, then walked out of Starbucks with Julian trailing behind, asking 70 questions I wasn't ready to answer. That night, I made a decision. After 37 days of silence, I was going to talk to Ethan on my terms, not to get back together. That ship had sailed, hit an iceberg, and sunk to the bottom of the ocean, but to let him know that I knew everything. Sunday morning at exactly 10 a.m., I texted Ethan from my real number. We need to talk. Today, 2 p.m., the daily grind on Maple Avenue, don't be late. He responded within 12 seconds. I'll be there, thank you, Sophia, I love you. Spoiler alert, he does not in fact love me. I spent the next 3 hours oscillating between absolute certainty and complete panic, changed my outfit 4 times, practiced what I wanted to say in the mirror like I was preparing for a job interview, called Chloe twice to talk me off the ledge. Arrived at the daily grind 20 minutes early to secure the corner table with my back to the wall, tactical positioning. Ordered a chai latte I had zero intention of actually drinking. Ethan walked in at 1:58 p.m., scanning the cafe until he spotted me. He looked better than I expected. Showered, shaved, wearing the blue button-down I'd given him. For a split second, my heart did that familiar flip it always did when I saw him. Then I remembered the GroupMe messages. He reached for a hug, which I avoided by gesturing to the chair across from me. His face fell, but he sat down, launched immediately into what sounded like a rehearsed speech about how sorry he was, how much he missed me, how the past month had been the worst of his life. I let him talk for exactly 2 minutes, then I placed my phone, screen up, between us, open to the screenshots Lucas had sent me of the group chat. So, who's Isabella? I asked. The look on his face, y'all, it was like watching someone get hit with a taser. His mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Those are Lucas shouldn't have. Just tell me the truth, Ethan, for once. The next 20 minutes were illuminating. Once he realized he was caught, the apologies stopped, and the excuses started. Isabella was just a friend, at first sure Jan. He'd been confused about our relationship for months, thought 3 years was too long to be with one person in your 20s. The Snapchat was stupid, but he never thought I'd see it. He panicked when I disappeared. I realized I'd made a huge mistake. Isabella wasn't worth losing you over. That's when it clicked. He wasn't devastated about hurting me. He was devastated about looking like the bad guy, about losing control of the narrative, about everyone knowing what he'd done. I took a sip of my cold chai and said the words I'd been practicing all morning. I'm not here to get back together, Ethan. I'm here to tell you that I know everything, and I'm done. Don't contact me, my friends, or my family again. We're over. His eyes welled up with tears that I'm now 99% sure were performative. But I love you, he said. We can fix this. I'll do anything. If you loved me, you wouldn't have spent 3 months planning how to humiliate me so you could be with someone else. I stood up, gathering my purse and jacket. That's when he played his final card, when I wasn't expecting. I broke the lease on my apartment, he blurted out. I've been staying with my mom. I thought we'd be moving in together next month, like we planned. For a brief, insane moment, I felt guilty, like I was the one ruining his life. Then I remembered the cold calculation of those messages, planning exactly how to break my heart in the most public way possible. You should call Isabella, I said. I'm sure she has room at her place. And then I walked out, no dramatic exit, no scene, just done. He texted 17 times in the next 2 hours, switching from apologetic to angry to desperate and back again. I didn't reply to any of them, just took screenshots and sent them to Chloe with the caption, "The audacity continues." Around noon, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. My first thought was, here we go again, but it wasn't Ethan. It was Isabella. Hi, Sophia, you don't know me, but I think we need to talk. Ethan's been telling me one story, and apparently telling you another. We met for coffee that afternoon. I've consumed enough caffeine this week to power a small city. Turns out, Isabella had no idea Ethan had a girlfriend until 2 weeks ago when she saw his public apology Snapchat. He told her he was single, had been for months, and was dealing with a crazy ex who couldn't let go. Sound familiar? The craziest part, she's actually nice. We ended up talking for 3 hours, comparing notes on Ethan's lies. She showed me texts where he was telling her he loved her the same day he was leaving sobbing voicemails on my phone. By the end of our conversation, we were following each other on Facebook and had made tentative plans to check out a new wine bar that's opening next month. Trust issues solidarity, I guess. That night, I finally did something I'd been putting off. I unblocked Ethan on Facebook, just temporarily, and went to his profile. His story from 3 hours earlier was a black screen with the song Glimpse of Us, playing Post Malone's Sad Boy anthem, so on brand, and the text, "Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone." His profile picture was still us from last summer. His most recent post a throwback photo of us from our 2nd anniversary with the caption, "I'd give anything to go back." Meanwhile, Isabella had sent me screenshots of him texting her that same day, asking if she wanted to hang out later. I've never felt more certain of a decision in my life. Yesterday marked exactly 40 days since I discovered the Snapchat. 6 weeks of pain, anger, confusion, and finally, clarity. I officially blocked Ethan on every platform, changed my number this morning, told my landlord under no circumstances should he ever be allowed into the building, and then I did something just for me. Remember that digital marketing certificate I applied for? I got accepted yesterday. Classes start next month. Paid the deposit with money I'd been saving for the apartment Ethan and I were supposed to share. Last night, Chloe, Julian, and a few other friends came over for an impromptu goodbye, Ethan party. We ordered pizza, drank cheap wine, and took turns reading the increasingly desperate texts he sent over the past weeks. Toxic, I know, but also weirdly cathartic. At one point, Julian asked if I was sad about wasting 3 years with Ethan, and the thing is, I'm not. Those years weren't a waste. They were a lesson about red flags I'll never ignore again, about my own resilience, about the kind of relationship I actually deserve. This morning, I woke up to a notification that Ethan had tagged me in a new Facebook post. My finger hovered over the view button for about 3 seconds before I realized I don't care what it says. His words have no power over me anymore. Instead, I deleted the notification, made my coffee, and sat on my balcony watching the sunrise. So, I guess this is officially the end of the saga, y'all.